As we discussed yesterday, President Joe Biden announced on Sunday that he will not seek re-election, and it's looking like Kamala Harris will be his replacement. Democrats will gather next month to their national convention, where Kamala will have to earn enough delegates to claim the nomination. And guys, it looks like she's going to have enough delegates. Chris Bedford is the senior politics editor for Blaze Media. And Chris, I know you said you thought it would be Kamala yesterday, but she has a 40% approval rating. So what do you think the odds are that the Democrats are going to look at somebody other than Kamala for their nominee?
I think that's what we kind of saw over the last couple of weeks after Biden's debate performance, was Democrats looking left and right for who could possibly be the right person to take over this job. And what they came down to was Kamala. The decision was made. Joe Biden wasn't eager to endorse her. The Obamas dislike her. That was just something that Congress slowly had to come around as the reason. You know, I was just talking to a friend who was an advisor to the Prime Minister of Australia a few administrations back, has worked in American politics, Australian politics, and he was saying, this is ridiculous. All other countries, I know that they're not the same size as the United States, but European countries, Canada, have proven that you can hold these mini primaries. You can hold these elections if you want to on very short notice. But I pointed out to him the difference in American politics is the machine apparatus. They want someone who has access to that machine. They've already built out this campaign. They don't want to start over from scratch. They want someone who's got that in place. Now, Democrats have a leg up on Republicans in that they've got their get out the vote effort built into nonprofits that are basically Acorn with a different name. They've got their get out the vote effort built into federal agencies, which they've now basically put in charge of trying to sign people up to vote for them. They've got, although it's wavering, a get out the vote effort already built into a lot of the unions. They don't have to worry about that. But there's still a huge amount. And there's really no other country on the planet, no political party on the planet that can raise $350 million in hard and soft money over 48 hours. That's the kind of mechanisms that they want. They don't want to enter a primary. They just want that cash. They want to start spending it and beating up on Donald Trump now. And that's what they're going to get.
Chris, what do you make of the last 24 hours hitting the average Democratic voter? Do you think that people will be just as energized as their leaders are? Because I ask this because what happened just happened so fast. I mean, within the space of a day, they transferred power, or they transferred the nominee. And the elite excitement, of course, is off the charts. And it may be the case that maybe regular voters will feel the same way and say, yes, Harris, let's go to war. But the difference is, it seems like there might be a difference between people who are spending that money and the people who are, the rank and file in the party. Do you think they're going to take to this switch?
So I'm curious about that. Kamala Harris is someone who has failed nationally, failed completely. She literally came in last place in the 2020 Democratic primaries. Her staff don't like her. She has massive overturn in her own personal office. The rumors get out. And it's not just that people leave. It's that people come out afterwards and say she was awful to work for. She has so far been unable to graft onto the Democratic base nationally. Now, within the bubbles that I kind of grew up in and lived, there is a lot of excitement for Kamala Harris. I'm from Massachusetts. Massachusetts Democrats are extremely excited. Facebook and Instagram and everything from even non-political Democrats are exploding. You see that down in Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. You see it in these sort of coastal circles. You have to wonder how much that actually extends to the swing states where she needs to start winning. I think that would be a place where she would be certainly a lot weaker. But a lot of this, and I've been surprised by the explosion of enthusiasm for someone who Democrats really weren't enthusiastic for previously. I think it really comes down to just a release and pressure. For the last couple of weeks, they have been so depressed that it was really clear that their candidate, Joe Biden, was in massive mental decline. He wasn't able to compete with Donald Trump. He was sick. They were trying to compare COVID to assassination attempts just to get them out of their depression. Now this may be a fake glimmer of light, but at least there's a change. And they've got a candidate who's young, and she looks fine on paper. Hopefully the American people won't notice how annoying she is for the next few weeks as the Olympics go on, then the convention. So that glimmer of hope is something that they've seized to. But if it will last, I'm much more doubtful of that.
Chris, how dare you say that people don't like Kamala Harris? You must have missed Captain Kamala. You must have missed it, Chris.
I must have. I mean, it's kind of surprising how quickly they've turned on everything. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've been able to openly say that Kamala Harris, for example, was a diversity hire. We're not allowed to say that anymore. Now it's like the most awful thing you've ever said. Joe Biden said it, and he said that's why he picked her. But then you see exactly what we're talking about here. You've got Michael Steele, the former chairman of the Republican National Committee out there. When he's not kissing butt and apologizing for who he is on MSNBC for a living, he's putting out these AI-generated comic book fan art of Kamala Harris as Captain America. I mean, what a pathetic place to be in life. But it is a really great window into how the Republican Party was for years. That people like Steele were in charge. And it's a great window into why people like Donald Trump, who promised to upend the GOP, are so popular with that base.
Matthew, who needs enemies when you have friends like that?
I have to say, I just want to emphasize what Chris just pointed out when you tweeted that earlier. I mean, it really is disgusting. The only thing worse than someone who, loves Kamala for good reason and is too dumb to see the flaws is someone like this who you have to say is disingenuous, has no loyalty, and led the RNC, is in charge of the Republican Party, and you're going for one of the least popular characters in recent Democratic history. It's disgusting, it's repulsive, and every time I see that, I think, you know what? Thank God for Trump. You all got exactly what you deserved. But that doesn't take away the fact from this problem now of, they think Harris is going to be much more popular than we think. Right. So if you watch the cable channels on the other side last night, they were all saying, look, these people like us are living in a bubble and they make fun of her in the bubble. But actually, when she comes out onto the scene, she'll be much more popular than they think. What do we think about that? I'm curious.
I think they're going to try and spin that. You already have TikTok algorithms working overtime to try and make it so it seems like she's really cool, that she gets off with the kids, that I know we're talking about this later, that she is brat, which is a thing which I had to catch up on today, I admit. This is going to be a full-fledged. I mean, the same people who told you that Melania Trump didn't matter, literally a fashion runway model, and that Michelle Obama was an icon like Jackie O. These are the same folks who are going to come out and say Kamala Harris. Now, the internet, though, has been doing some good work on the other side. There's 4 years of hysterical clips of this person. Kamala Harris is someone who doesn't really think deeply about any of the issues facing the Democratic Party. In fact, she doesn't even do the homework enough to be able to simply repeat the party slogans in a way that a lot of other Democrats are capable of doing. They can't hide that. She looks cool in still pictures. She's certainly a lot younger than anyone else in Democratic leadership. That's a good thing. That's helpful with the Democratic base. But it's once she starts talking and you start to hear what she says and find out how deeply annoying she is, that you realize why she ended up dropping out of the DNC, out of the primaries, before she even got to Iowa.
Chris, Ukraine is a country next to Russia. The wheels on the school buses are yellow. We could go on and on. We could be unburdened by everything that has come before us here on Blaze
AI
tonight.
is 2 letters.
But we will not go there. But what it all comes down to, you guys, is Kamala Harris popular enough to beat Donald Trump? That is the question on the table right now, Chris.
Well, I think the Republicans should take it very seriously. $350 million flowing to the party, to the candidate, and to the PACs. That money makes a big impact. I mean, a lot of that's going to, these people are pretty well defined. The Republicans are going to have to dump a lot of money into reminding the American people who Kamala Harris is, because the administration and the party that should be celebrating the first Jamaican vice president, the first possible president who's a child of 2 immigrants in centuries. They should have been pushing her out there, but she's largely been hidden because she's not very good politically. Republicans have to step in here and start defining her. But this is certainly a real race. Any party that has overconfidence, we saw this with Democrats in 2016, ends up getting its butt kicked or getting surprised. So they should consider this a serious candidate, but they shouldn't fall. They certainly should not fall into despair. Democrats, I think, right now are so eager for any glimmer of hope that they're suddenly saying this is great. They're on the path to victory. That's not true, but it is a real race again.